Have you on. Let's start with what's been going on the ground in Iran. Executions, extraordinary violence and pain and suffering among the Iranian people at the hands of their own government. Give us an update of how bad it is.
Absolutely. You hit the nail right on the head. Actually, since the end of the 12-day war, the government itself, the regime, has said that they have arrested 21,000 people. There have been a dramatic rise in the number of executions. Just to give you an idea of the brutality of this regime, 29 were executed between August 3 and August the 6th. This brings the total number of executions in Iran under the so-called moderate president Pezeshkian to 1,600, which is a 60% rise relative to the previous year. Last year it was 972 actually. So you can imagine the kind of brutality that the regime is dealing with the Iranian people. There are now 14 dissidents, all of them on the charge of membership in the Mujahideen Khalq, the main opposition, MEK. They've been sentenced to death. Two others were executed on July 27, and five, particularly we're concerned about, have been transferred to Qaz al-Hissar prison, where the executions are being carried out, and they are still incommunicado, not able to, their families are not able to reach them. They cannot have any phone conversation with anybody outside the prison. So there's a great deal of concern. Their families keep going. They have also begun arresting family members of MEK activists, some in their late 60s, some suffering from various illnesses. So clearly the regime, fearing that it is losing control of the domestic situation, it has ramped up the suppression of the Iranian people. Remember that the regime has lost its strategic depth with the fall of Bashar al-Assad, with the elimination of Hassan Nasrallah, with the blows that the Houthis have received, and of course with the pressure on the Iraqi government to disarm the Shiite militias who work hand in hand with the regime in Tehran. Add to that, of course, a growing number of protests across the country by all sectors of Iranian society, farmers, bakers, truck drivers, taxi drivers, the students, you name it. And of course, there has been massive power outages, massive water shortage. And so people are up in arms. Every day there are protests in front of various ministries. And so the mullahs are very, very concerned, especially since the MEK-affiliated resistance units have stepped up their activities, targeting the IRGC and the paramilitary Basij. So this explains why you have seen such an uptick in the number of executions in Iran, because I think the mullahs are seeing the end coming very soon.
Yeah, it's amazing to see. And just the basic staples of life are harder to come by in Iran. The mullahs can't deliver basic things. You mentioned electricity, water, but that's a big part of it. People seem to be unhappy with their pay, the truck drivers. So beyond the destabilization that's occurred by the U.S. Bombings, it does seem like the mullahs are looking to their own people like they can't run the government anymore, right?
Absolutely. In fact, now anybody who wages a protest on any issue, it's labeled the fifth columnist. And of course, the defeat that the regime suffered, both in the region and of course, the blows that it received in the 12-day war, a lot of people are questioning the authority of Khamenei. Infighting has been increasing. In fact, there is even talk in the Iranian parliament for impeaching Pezeshkian for his incompetence. You may know inflation is runaway, unemployment is just beyond belief. 15 million people in Iran sleep hungry every night. 25 million live in the slums of big cities. So Pezeshkian has not delivered, but of course this regime hasn't delivered in the past 46 years. The Iranian people are suffering greatly, but of course they are quite resilient. Remember that since 2017, there have been 5 major uprisings in Iran, the last of which was in 2022, which of course the mullahs suppressed brutally, killing 750 people, including a lot of young people. But that has not dissuaded the Iranian people from continuing their protests. Actually, in protests today, I was watching the video, people were chanting, "The enemy is right here. they lie when they say it's America. So Iranian people know who the source of their misery and calamity is. It is the mullahs of Iran, and they are as determined as ever to topple it. What remains, I think, is for the international community to really stop this policy of engaging the mullahs and invest in the Iranian people and the organized resistance.